Imagine this. You're out somewhere, maybe hiking, just taking photos on a mountain trail, or, even simpler, just listening for frogs in your backyard.
Oh, yeah.
What if I told you those simple things, those observations, could actually feed into real scientific research, or even like playing a game on your computer?
Yeah. I mean, it almost sounds too good to be true, right? Bit, maybe. But that's exactly what we're digging into today.
Exactly. Today, we're doing a deep dive into this really fascinating world of citizen science. And, this isn't about scientists in white coats locked away in labs.
No, not at all. It's about projects where, well, basically anyone volunteers. You can work alongside scientists.
Right. Answering real-world questions, gathering data that honestly would be impossible to get otherwise.
hmm And our goal here, our mission for this deep dive, is really to explore the huge impact of citizen science
I want to show you the incredible range of projects out there.
and really stress how easy it is to get involved and just how, well, vital these contributions are for actual scientific discovery.
And that accessibility point you mentioned, that's where it gets really interesting, I think. People often assume, oh, I need a science degree or years of experience.
Right, but the reality for so many of these projects is no experience necessary.
That's huge.
It really is. And the scale proves it. You look at hubs like SysStarter, they list, what, over 3,000 projects?
Wow.
And Zooniverse has over 100, covering everything from, biology to deep space astronomy.
So many options.
What people sometimes miss is that this collective effort, thousands, sometimes millions of people observing, achieves data collection on a scale no single research team, no matter how funded, could ever manage.
Okay, but here's a question I bet listeners are thinking. If anyone can join in, how do scientists make sure the data is actually, good,
Yeah.
scientifically sound?
That's a really important question, and it's fundamental to how these projects are set up. They're designed very carefully with strong methods. Often the data gets checked by multiple volunteers, or there are algorithms or experts review it. Plus, many projects give you really good training materials.
Ah, so they teach you what to look for.
Exactly. Sometimes even little online courses. It's this smart design that lets you genuinely, dive into research anytime, anywhere, and still produce data that's scientifically valuable.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so let's break this down. Let's talk specifics. Where can people actually jump in? Maybe start with nature and biodiversity. Lots of people love birds.
Oh, absolutely. If you into birds, you are definitely in luck. Think about the Audubon Society's Christmas bird count.
A classic.
Right, it's been running for over a century. Or the Great Backyard Bird Count. These aren't just like fun little events.
No, they build real data.
They've created one of the longest, most extensive data sets on bird populations anywhere. It gives scientists incredible insights into long-term ecological shifts, climate change impacts, things professionals just couldn't track alone on that scale.
And it's not only those big annual counts, is it?
No, no. You can observe birds in the city for Celebrate Urban Birds, or monitor nests with Nest Watch, track who's visiting your feeder with Project Feeder Watch.
Oh, I've heard of Feeder Watch.
Yeah. And then there's eBird. That's a huge online platform where anyone can log their sightings in real time. It builds this amazing global map of bird distribution.
Incredible. Okay, beyond birds, what about other critters?
Plenty there, too. You can count horseshoe crabs during their spawning season. It's called the horseshoe count. Helps track the health of this, like, ancient species.
Wow.
Or you can contribute to the North American Butterfly Association's census, or help the Monarch Larva Monitoring Project track monarch caterpillars and their milkweed habitat, which is super critical.
That feels really important right now. And plants. I imagine there are plant projects too.
Definitely. You can monitor when plants flower in places like the Appalachian Mountains, which helps study climate change effects.
Right, the timing of things.
Exactly, that's phenology. You can join the National Phenology Network to record observations about those life cycles, flowering, leafing out, all that.
Interesting.
Project Budburst is another one, focusing specifically on the first leafing, flowering, and fruit ripening you see locally. There's even a project tracking invasive plants, like the Global Garlic Mustard Field Survey.
Garlic mustard, huh?
And then for just general observations, any plant, any animal, fungus, whatever, the iNaturalist app is just
I
fantastic.
use that one. It's great.
Isn't it? You just snap a photo, upload it, and it becomes part of this huge global biodiversity database. It's often used in what they call a bioblitz.
Right, where everyone tries to find as many species as possible in one area.
Exactly. And all that crowdsourced data helps researchers understand where species are, how ecosystems are doing, just on a massive scale.
So clearly the natural world is a huge area for this. But what about the planet itself, like water quality, climate, that sort of thing?
Yeah, great question, because loads of really critical citizen science projects focus right there on Earth and environmental data. Water quality is a big one.
How does that work?
People use simple test kits to sample local streams, rivers, lakes, whatever's near them, and then share the results globally.
So you can spot pollution problems.
Exactly. Or track how well restoration efforts are working. Some groups, like the Chesapeake Bay Foundation on the East Coast, even get volunteers involved in hands-on stuff like planting trees or growing oysters to help restore the bay.
That's really cool, getting your hands dirty for science.
hmm And for climate and weather, you can measure snow depth. There's the Community Snow Observations Project, or CSO.
Snow depth, why is that so important?
Well, especially in mountain areas, that snowpack data is absolutely critical for predicting how much water communities downstream will have in the spring.
Water supply.
Right. And for understanding glacier melt. Both are really key indicators of climate change.
Makes sense.
Similarly, there's Cooker-AH, the Community Collaborative Rain, Hail, and Snow Network. Volunteers collect precipitation data right in their backyards.
Kokore HS. I've seen those rain gauges.
Yeah. And that super local data drastically improves weather forecasting, helps with severe weather warnings, and builds up those long-term climate records.
So it's really granular data.
Very.
Yeah.
And for tracking how landscapes change over time, there's a cool project called Chronolog. You upload photos taken from the same spot repeatedly.
Oh, like a time lapse.
Exactly. It creates these visual time lapses that really show how ecosystems are shifting, sometimes really gradually.
That's a neat idea. It feels like there's so much happening right here on Earth. But you mentioned astronomy earlier. Citizen science goes beyond our planet, too.
Oh, absolutely. It reaches for the stars, literally. One of the most famous examples has to be Galaxy Zoo.
Galaxy Zoo, right. Classifying galaxies.
Yep. You look at images and help scientists classify galaxies based on their shapes, spiral, elliptical, etc.
But can't computers do that now?
Well, yes and no. The human eye, our brains, are still incredibly good at spotting weird, subtle patterns, anomalies that current algorithms might miss.
Huh. Interesting.
People using Galaxy Zoo have genuinely led to new astronomical discoveries because of that pattern recognition skill. It's amazing doing what a computer can't, really.
That's fantastic. So our brains are still useful.
Definitely. And you can also join Exoplanet Watch to help NASA scientists sift through data to find planets outside our solar system.
Searching for exoplanets. Wow.
Or, closer to home, there's Globe at Night. You basically look up at the constellations, report how many stars you can see from where you are.
To measure light pollution.
Exactly. It helps map how artificial light is impacting our view of the night sky and affecting ecosystems.
That feels important. And you mentioned a game earlier.
Yes. Fold It. This one kind of blows my mind. It's a crowdsourcing computer game, a puzzle game, really.
Okay.
But by playing it, you're actually helping researchers figure out how proteins fold into complex 3D shapes.
Why does that matter?
Because a protein's shape determines what it does in our bodies or in a disease. So by helping map these incredibly complex shapes, players are literally contributing to designing new drugs.
For diseases, like what?
Things like HIV, cancer, Alzheimer's, even designing new enzymes for things like biofuels. It's serious research done through a game.
That's incredible. Okay, so we've seen how many different types of projects there are and how easy it can be to just jump in and contribute data. But does it go deeper than that? Can people do more than just observe?
That's a really interesting aspect, yeah. Citizen science isn't just a one-way street where you provide data. Many people get more deeply involved over time.
How so?
Well, you can actually take the data collected by these projects, which is often publicly available, and use it for your own research, maybe a school project or just personal interest.
Oh, okay. Analyze the results yourself.
Right. Or you might get ideas for a whole new research question, maybe a spin-off project based on what you're seeing.
And I think you mentioned earlier, some people even start their own projects.
Yes. Absolutely. If you have a question you think could be tackled with help from volunteers, you can design and launch your own citizen science project.
That sounds complicated.
It takes work, for sure, but there are actually resources out there to help. The U.S. government has a toolkit. Cornell University has one. They guide you through the steps. Methodology, engaging volunteers, data management, all of it.
So it's possible to go from contributor to actual project leader.
Definitely. And we see amazing examples of this deeper engagement, especially from from young people, from students.
Oh, yeah.
If you look at abstracts from big science fairs, like the International Science and Engineering Fair, ISEF,
Okay.
you find incredible student projects, like one titled Studying Avian Biodiversity Changes After Wetland Restoration. This student used citizen science bird data to see how well a restored ecosystem was recovering.
Wow. Using existing data for their own analysis.
Exactly. Or another one, Quackify, a low-cost, crowdsourced, real-time solution to earthquake early warning. Using everyday technology, like smartphone sensors, turned into a scientific tool network.
That's innovative.
Totally. And Coral Reef, machine learning on crowdsourced data to highlight an ecological crisis, combining AI with photos submitted by citizen scientists to track coral reef health.
That sounds powerful.
There was also developing novel, low-cost methods to support citizen scientists in the conservation of bat species, really focusing on empowering the community itself.
Right, building better tools for others.
And even using historical data alongside citizen science data, like in fossil augmented species distribution models, reveal the shifted baselines of California avifauna under climate change.
So these students are really pushing the boundaries, using citizen science in sophisticated ways.
They really are. It just underscores how people can move from being, simple contributors to genuine innovators within this whole citizen science world.
So who are all these people? You mentioned students, but is it mostly like retirees with free time, or
Yeah.
who gets involved?
That's one of the most fascinating parts. It's incredibly diverse. One article summed it up perfectly. Researchers are making important discoveries thanks to help from people of all ages.
All ages.
All ages, all backgrounds. I read about these two women who endured an entire winter, like isolated in the high Arctic, just to collect climate data for polar research.
Whoa, that's some serious dedication. That's not just snapping a photo on your phone.
Not even close. But then on the other end of the spectrum, you have regular people helping track camel crickets.
Camel crickets, the ones in basements.
Yep. Those creepy looking things. People reported where they found them, and it provided really valuable data on how these insects are spreading. Just ordinary folks looking in their basements.
Huh?
Or, get this, a study in Finland signed up 4-H members' kids basically to scoop cow poop.
Wait, really? Cow poop for science?
For science. They were gathering data to study the impact of different agricultural practices on the land. Kids contributing to environmental science.
That's-
Definitely. Or you have citizen scientists listening to audio recordings to help identify bat calls for conservation efforts. Or think about the big solar eclipse back in 2017.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
Thousands of people across the U.S. were specifically asked to observe and report what plants and animals did during the eclipse. Did birds stop singing? Did flowers close up?
And did they?
They gathered this unique data set showing how ecosystems react to sudden, dramatic changes in light and temperature, something you could only really capture with eyes everywhere during that specific event.
It just really drives home the point, doesn't it? The incredible range of ways that just regular people, bringing their curiosity, their willingness to just look or listen,
Yeah.
are making a real tangible difference in science.
Absolutely. The power of it and how accessible it is now, it's truly transformative. Simple observations, small contributions from you listening right now.
Yeah, from your home, your phone, your local park.
Exactly. It can genuinely lead to significant scientific breakthroughs, help us answer some really big, pressing questions about our planet, our universe, even ourselves.
So, okay, wrapping this up, what's the big takeaway for you listening? We kind of want to leave you with a final thought to chew on.
Think about this. What real-world question are you already noticing? Something you're curious about in your everyday life.
Maybe something you see on your commute or in your garden or even just online.
That little spark of curiosity, that simple observation you're already making, that could honestly be the start of your next scientific contribution.
Or who knows, maybe even inspire you to create a whole citizen science project of your own someday.
The world and science is basically waiting for your curiosity.